all you parents out there, we have a radical idea for you tonight. What if you put your husband or your wife before your kids? What if you made your marriage your top priority?
Roseanne Tejas tells us the author of a recent book says it's time for kids to take a back seat on your priority list.
Now, a lot of parents freak out when they hear that, say, oh my God, how could I possibly do that?
You go on my shoulders?
For many parents, his advice is counterintuitive. To raise happy kids, put your marriage first. Author David Code says an epidemic of troubled children is fueling myths.
Number one by a mile is the more attention we give our kids, the better they'll turn out. These days, it seems like parents are marrying their children instead of their spouses.
You gonna walk poodle or ride poodle?
We went to the village of Barrington to test the theory on the Smith family.
What would you say if I said, put your marriage first?
I think it's absurd from the standpoint of feasibility. It might sound great in terms of theory, but in practicality, I don't know that I would ever see that happening.
Did you make those yourself?
David Smith and his wife Courtney say their 3 kids keep them very busy. There's school, ballet, soccer, football, baseball, and only 24 hours in the day. Still, Smith contends you shouldn't have to choose between your spouse and your kids.
I don't know that it's kids first either. I think it's family first. Because we're so engaged in our kids that it allows us still to bond when we're at their activities or out playing with them. So it's just different.
But for other couples out there, Code says it's too easy to forget the spouse altogether.
We work longer hours. We retreat into our electronic screens. We shuttle our kids everywhere. We co-sleep with our kids. We throw ourselves into parenting. That's today's favorite.
But Code says kids sense when there's tension between mom and dad. That's why Courtney Smith says she sees the merit to a spouse-first philosophy.
You know, if you make an effort to stay very connected and have a great relationship with your husband or wife, that does, trickle down to how the kids are feeling.
And when the parents are happy and secure, goes the theory, the kids are too. Well, the Smiths think they've found a pretty good balance, but David Code thinks there's a real crisis out there, that people are heaping so much attention on their kids, it's actually harming them. He says the best thing parents can do is to create that intimate relationship with their spouses so that there will be less anxiety in the household, and he thinks it could even help solve some of the learning and social problems that kids face these days.
All right, so what is David Code's background to be talking about this?
That's a fair question. He is a family coach. More importantly, I guess he's a spouse, and he has 2 children. But other than that, a coach and a minister, and someone who's lived around the world and said, in other places, they don't put that emphasis on the kids.
Gotcha.
Yeah, great theory, making it work, the hard part, right?
Sounds harsh, doesn't it?
My 5-year-old son's going to be so disappointed tomorrow when I tell him.
Thanks, Roseanne.